Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. From award-winning filmmaker Joachim Trier, known for such films as The Worst Person in the World, Louder Than Bombs, and many, many others, Sentimental Value follows sisters Nora and Agnes as they reconnect with their estranged father, Gustav, once celebrated director eager to reclaim his former glory. Boy, there's a lot more to this film than that introduction would lead you to believe, because it is a remarkable study in family dynamics, aging, artistic vision, the creative process, and so much more. We're joined today by the editor, the Academy Award nominated editor, Olivier Bugge Coutté, Sentimental Value. Welcome to Cinemophile.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. What a remarkable film. I'm sure you've been hearing this from all quarters. What a well-done film this is, and what a great story it is. Yeah, you're very welcome. It's a great story, and anyone who has been in a family and understands the dynamics and the complications and all of the misperceptions about one another will appreciate this on many levels. I know you've been working.
Who doesn't have a problematic relationship to their father, right?
I think I'll raise my hand on that one. Well, I know that you've been working with Joachim from the beginning. I believe you've worked with him on almost all of his films.
We met in film school in the late 90s and connected real quick, bonded over the same interest of films, and did the second year film and graduation film. We lived in a house together. And after graduation in 2001, I think, we started working together. We did some commercials together, but Joachim didn't really go down that path. But a couple of years later, we did the first film, and this is now our sixth.
That first film was Reprise. Am I correct in that? Reprise was...
Yes.
Yeah. He was kind enough to join me for Louder Than Bombs and also Worst Person in the World. So had an opportunity to talk to him and him share his artistic vision, and working with people like yourself. It does seem, and I'm always appreciative of filmmakers who gather around them kind of a ecosystem of people that they come back to for different projects.
Yeah.
It feels like it's good for him. He's sort of his shorthand with those people, but also his trust in the people he works with.
I think so. We normally call ourselves a band because we do work with other people, or I work with other people, because he's only making a film every third year. So if I was dependent on the economy coming in from his films, I wouldn't be able to afford a house. We often call ourselves a band because we share so much the same interest in films and how to make them, and what we like in performance and structure in films. So it's a pleasure to go back and work with him all the time.
In terms of the work that you've done with in the past, is Sentimental Value an extension of his artistic vision, or was this new territory? I know for sure with Louder Than Bombs, there are dynamics that are shared in with this film, but is there something that is a departure, or what's different about Sentimental Value?
I mean, at the fundamental core of it is the interest of telling stories that are about close to a psychological drama around characters that feels real. That's the same desire and interest throughout all the films. The difference with this one compared to the previous one and the other ones too is that it's a multi-character drama.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we had to balance 4 strong characters in the time of one feature film. So that's the big difference. But the fundamental desire to tell stories and tell them in an entertaining way is the same.
Are you ever on set when he's filming?
I live in Copenhagen. He lives in Oslo. So there's like 600 kilometers between us. And I start editing a couple of weeks after the first day of shoot. If I was in Oslo, I would go to set. It's not that I'm afraid of being there and it's going to corrupt my way of looking at the material. But I'm not, simply for the reason that it's too far away. when we did Louder Than Bombs, I went to set a couple of times because I was editing in New York.
Once principal shooting is done, do you, I mean, obviously you communicate with each other, I'm sure, on a regular basis until you've kind of this big mound of clay that you have in front of you. At what point do
Uh,
you sit down together? How does that work? How does your relationship in that regard work?
with him, I don't read the scripts until the shooting script is there. So I've already signed the contract with the producer, so I'm just crossing my fingers and hope that the script is okay. And it has been so far. No, of course, I trust him to make something interesting. But I start editing 2 weeks after the first day of shoot, and I try to aim to have a first assembly of the whole film, like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks after he wrapped the picture. And he normally takes a week or two off. So when he comes into the edit, we work on some small bits together. And after a week, we're able to see the whole first assembly. Knowingly that the scenes are not perfect, but so many things happen when you're able to see the film from beginning to an end before you go into details about many things. You can lose yourself in details about certain scenes, and then you forget the overall picture. And then when you see the whole film, you're like, why did I spend so much time on that scene? That scene is going out.
Yeah.
So I like very much try to get the full body really quick, even even if sometimes I have to make a scene just in two cuts, knowing that it's going to be cut many cuts. So I just make a wide shot and a close up, and that's it. Then I know, okay, this is a 3 minute scene. It's going from this place, from this feeling to this feeling, because then things will change anyway.
I don't know how many hours of footage you're looking at in when you sit down for that first go through, but
On the In this film, I we had I think 65 shooting days. I had close to 80 hours of
oh my
material.
God.
It's shot on 35. That's not a lot. I used to I grew up with documentaries. I would have like 250, 300 hours of
Yeah.
material
Yeah.
to watch. So this is okay as long as we get the time to cut it. And then the first cut I think was 3.5 hours.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the 3.5 hours just mean that everything is there. All scenes, entering the room, exiting the room, entering the room, exiting the room, knowing that a lot of these things are going to be trimmed down. A lot of a lot of scenes are going to go out. So 3.5 hours to for a film that ends in 2 hours is perfect.
Yeah. It's 2 hours, 13 minutes officially, but that is amazing. So is there I've never talked to an editor in this detail before, so if these are fundamental questions,
Okay,
please stop me,
go
but I'm just
go ahead.
curious in terms of are you looking at what was determined to be the best take and then or is there a version of another take that you have to try to I mean how does that work?
I end up watching all the material
Okay.
several times. I might not watch it the first time when I'm doing the scene because I like being touched emotionally by the rushes when I see them for the first time.
Okay.
So sometimes I just coincidentally jump into the middle of the material and I'm looking at a close up, take 3 out of 5,
Okay.
and I see, whoa, that's interesting. And I just build the scene around that. And I sometimes make mistakes because I forget the context. As I told you, I only read the script one
Right.
time. I don't want to be constrained by the script and all the intention in the script. I'd like to, because there has been so many layers of interpretations in the script was written. So I can dive in anywhere in the rushes, and then I make a version of the scene. And then at a later point, or the second time I go through, then I watch everything and say, oh, I forgot that setup in the beginning. And then I can make like a more rational version of the scene. But
Sure.
I like working intuitively and emotionally the first time I build up a scene.
This is fantastic. Thank you for indulging me because it's just to the creative process. It's really fascinating. And I'm sure all direct or most directors work in very different ways. And congratulations on your nomination for an Academy
Thank you
Award.
so.
Yeah. Is this
Thank you.
your first? I believe your first nomination.
Yes, yes, yes.
And somebody watches a lot of films. What impressed me so much, is within the context of these three strong storylines that you're following, at least three that you're following. It feels like I had everything I needed as a viewer, whether it was the context of the story, whether it was the character development, whether it was the subtext. All of those things are in this film so beautifully. I know you've probably heard people
Great.
wax poetically about this film, but I begin as a fan of Joachim anyway. As it's just a pleasure to watch. And what I
Thank you.
really appreciate in the edit and in the filmmaking is there are scenes that don't call attention to themselves in terms of their importance to the telling of the story. And that, for me, is a gift as someone who loves films. I love the way that plays out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's a it's a film that is very much based on the psychological development of each scene. You're following the temperature going up 1/2 degree, 1/2 degree, going down 2 degrees, up one. That's all there is in this film. There's no external suspense structure or anything. It's only based on that psychology. So either you're in it and then you're taken by it, or if you don't like that kind of film, watch something else.
Well, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate just that you breaking it down a little bit. And I'm so glad I've heard so many things about sentimental value in terms of a sleeper for Best Picture. I've just heard so many things. You've got to see this. And it lived up to every expectation that I had heard about it. And the acting is superb. Renate was on for her previous Armand. I just had her on a couple of months ago for that film. Thought she
Oh
was
yeah,
fantastic in that, and so much
that's
more.
amazing.
Elle Fanning is a revelation. There's just a whole
Yeah,
bunch of people in this film who are fantastic, and a testament to them as performers and artists, but also to the telling of the story, which we've all lived in some version. I don't care who you are. If you've been in a family more than about 15 minutes, you've
yes,
lived some version of this film. And
yes.
my congratulations to you, Olivier Bugge
Thank you,
Coutté. Thank you so very much.
thank
Thank you.
you.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.